Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley and Shaka Hislop. Where should we start, boys? Should we start in Saudi Arabia, of course? That was the venue for the Spanish Supercup semi-final between Real Madrid and Mallorca. Real Madrid 3-0.
For where to start?
Well, because you're the bossy one who gets grumpy if I don't.
Start in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, good, we'll start there. 0-0. Mallorca kept it tight, as we expected in the first half, but in the end, Jude Bellingham scored, and that was really the end of the game. 2 late goals. Real Madrid through to the final against Barca.
Yeah. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Real Madrid, once again, dominated the first half, but close game, not really clinical in the final third. And like we've seen a lot of times this season, have sort of worn teams down, which is not great surprise. Now, whether they're going to be able to do that to Barca in the final remains to be seen, but they were just too strong for Mallorca in the end. And actually, Bellingham's goal, I mean, there was so many players on the goal line. How he managed to squeeze it through, I think there was a couple of nutmegs in there, but he managed somehow to get it over the line, and from that point on, it always looked like Real Madrid were going to go through. Well,
I suppose that you're looking for storylines throughout this. The better team beat Mallorca. Yeah. That was it. But Vinicius Junior is clearly a target now.
Yes.
When it comes to being wound up.
Well,
and we saw him
not just now. We've seen Vinicius be targeted. We've seen Vinicius be targeted by Mallorca, by this player.
This is Maffeo during the game.
They have a little bit of a history, those two. There was one, I'm wanting to say incident, but Maffeo made the absolute most of the slightest.
Like, it hit Craig like how he hit you.
Well,
it was just like a little nudge, and Maffeo goes down. But this is what players are trying to get from Vinicius Junior.
They're trying to spark a reaction, and Vinicius Junior certainly has to.
I'm trying my best.
The Golden Globe goes to.
Vinicius has to know and come to expect that. Given all the criticism of his sending off of late, I thought he handled the situation as well as anybody could on the day. And in the end, thankfully, he keeps himself on the park. He doesn't get carried away. Real Madrid don't lose sight of what's in front of them, and their quality just wear Mallorca down. Mallorca were always just going to sit tight and hope to get something on the break. They almost did. But Real Madrid were the better of the two teams.
It's interesting going into Sunday. Obviously, Barcelona in the final. Last time these two teams met was 4-0. After that, Barcelona fell off a cliff. Real Madrid now top of the table. It's been intriguing to see how this tie goes.
Yeah, I don't expect anybody to try and rub up Vinicius Junior in the same way, but he's going to get something, isn't he?
Of course.
But in some sense, a player brings it on himself in a sense that, as former players and opponents, you'll sort of try and find any way you can to put somebody off his game. And in fact, the less he reacts, the less I think players will try and do it to him. How they're going to handle him, I don't know. In previous years, it's been Araujo who's done a good job on him. Probably Koundé will be playing, who's actually had a pretty good season. But yeah, you just feel Real Madrid are in a slightly different place than they were when that Clásico came around, when actually they played quite well.
Yeah, they
created lots of chances. They dominated the game so much early on, and then they folded when Mbappe got himself in all these poor positions. I kind of feel they're not perfect from where they were, but they're certainly in a much better position.
Who's the favourite for you going into this show?
Real Madrid.
You say that without thinking.
Yeah. Without, I mean, even though in the previous meeting, Barcelona dominated as we've spoken about, these are two teams trending in two very different directions. And while Barca are very good against Athletic in the semi-final, still coming into the winter break, Barcelona were left wanting. They were struggling to rediscover that early season form. And Real Madrid, while still, I don't think anywhere near as good as they were last season, are a whole lot better than they were in the early part of this one. Kylian Mbappe still isn't at his sparkling best, but he's getting better. So it's a Real team that's trending in the right direction, sitting top of the table against a Barcelona that are still trying to rediscover their early season form.
You just think quick, don't you?
Yeah.
That's because I went to college.